we get started, just so if you haven't used Butter before, it is excellent. I actually found Butter through Paz because she is the systems queen. But on the left-hand side, you can react. So there's a bunch of reacts. If you think that something that Alex said is amazing, jump in there. If you have a question, we actually would love to take them as we go, especially if you've got, like, you can think of a specific use case where you're like, how could I do this? And it was relevant to something that Alex has said. So if you do have something to say, I'll be watching the chat, but also you can use the Q button. So there's 3 options there. It's I have a comment, I have a question, I have an idea. And then I can hit the button and give you the mic to ask a question when there's time. And also I will be manning the chat while Alex goes through his presentation. But anyway, I think we're ready to get started. Over to you, Alex.
Perfect. Hey everyone, I'm Alex. I lead the startups program in APAC for Notion. Pleasure to have all of you on the call, and here to learn all about Notion. So let me share my screen, of course. Just let me know when you can see that.
We can see that.
Easy peasy. So hello. Let me zoom in so you can see me better, or my face. So just a little bit about me. Of course, I work at Notion. I spent the last 3.5 years as a venture capital investor in New Zealand. So I worked in a 2-man team. We invested out of a $36 million New Zealand fund and invested in a bunch of startups across New Zealand, anything from AI startups, B2B SaaS, and video gaming, of all things, because video gaming is actually quite popular in New Zealand and quite a thriving industry. I was born in Auckland, New Zealand, and I still live here to this day, but I do frequently travel to Sydney and Melbourne a lot. So before we begin, I just wanted to pop this in the chat just in case anyone wanted to claim the offer now, but you guys can get up to 6 months of Notion's business plan for free with Notion AI included. And all of the stuff that you'll learn to date in this workshop will be using Notion AI and using Notion. And so you'll be able to get this with the startup program offer. So last thing is let's switch on AI meeting notes, which is kind of our new way of recording, summarizing, and taking notes of any types of meetings. You can kind of see my voice waves here, which means that it's recording. I got really sick at the start of this week when I came back from Singapore, so still recovering from that. Some disclaimers and encouragements, like this workshop is really designed to be a fundamentals and a basics, so everyone can follow along, whether you are completely new to Notion, whether you are exploring Notion, and whether you are a little bit more advanced or even an expert. Notion can be as simple and as complex as you would like it. First. And the examples that I show are strictly examples, but they may not fit your business because your business does something very specific. And so I would say that these are very case-by-case examples, but really build stuff in your own time that suits your own business. And like Megan said, if there's any questions, please don't hesitate to interrupt us at any time or interrupt me at any time. So the agenda for today's Startup Stack session. So we're going to go over a brief intro on what Notion even is for those of you that are unfamiliar. We're going to go through kind of an operating system or a startup stack architecture. What does that even look like? We're going to run through how to create projects and tasks. And someone in the chat said something about project planning, Trevor. So we're going to touch on like how to build a project management database and plan projects and connect those to tasks as well. We're going to talk about how do you record and document all of your meeting notes within Notion. And so you have your projects, your tasks, and your meetings all in one place. I added a little bit of like an extra thing in case anyone here is a founder or a builder or considering raising capital, but we can also build an investor data room live on the call. And then I will finally give you an example of how this actually all looks like in practice once you've kind of built it. Sounds good? Sweet. Awesome. So let's go over the super basics of what Notion actually is. You can think of Notion as a workspace for you to get your work done. And really built with this philosophy of Lego blocks, where you can kind of customize any blocks that you see to fit your needs. So what we're trying to do today, I guess outcome-wise, is to build a single source of truth for you, and a place where you can unify all of your projects, docs, tasks, meetings, and also teams together, because maybe one of you guys have multiple people. All right. So let's go over this key important bit of Notion. Like the thing that I'm presenting you today right now is Notion. Like this is a Notion page. It's usually empty. And I've just populated it with all of this data. These are building blocks. You can literally move them around whatever you want. Let's put that back there. Let's go back down. But a sidebar is this thing on the side right here. So your sidebar is really important because it's kind of your key navigation system across your Notion page. You got search up here so that you can search across your Notion. You got your home page, you got your inbox, you've got your private pages, just in case you don't want to show people your work. And then you have your team spaces where your whole team can work and collaborate on stuff. So here's how I would, like if I was a founder and starting from scratch, design my sidebar page. So I would kind of have like a home dashboard. I would have one for projects, tasks, yada yada, vision, OKRs, metrics. And this would actually look like this here. So you got your home page, you got your OKRs, your projects, tasks. So that's how I would set it up. So that's kind of the fundamentals of setting up almost like an operating system. Now, if we step back, when you're a business, you have stuff to do. Like you're either selling a product service and you need a way to, I guess, manage the workflow of then selling that product or service to your end customer. Some of that involves projects. So maybe one project, I know Megan is working on a bunch of projects at this point in time. But say you have a bunch of projects that you want to complete and you want a place to house all of those. So maybe you want one project's database. And sorry, I should have mentioned this before, but Notion is actually built on databases and connecting databases to other databases. Database may sound like a really technical term, but it's just a really fancy table, essentially. And so you can connect everything in Notion via databases or fancy tables. So maybe we want to create a projects database that has properties of status, owner, priority, stage, related docs. And you also maybe want different views as well. So let me copy that. And let's go into our projects database. I whipped this one up before, but let me delete that. Let's say that we literally start from scratch. How do you build a projects database for your operating system? Well, you could do it manually, where you could go /database, and you could add the properties in yourself with all of these features. So maybe you want, I don't know, status of it. Maybe you wanted related docs or related databases, for example. But this can be quite technical and no one really wants to spend their time doing this. I certainly don't. So instead, what we're going to use is Notion AI to build a database from scratch. So you use natural language and you can build a projects database from scratch. So let's go database again. You can either make this a full page or within this existing page. what we're going to do is we're going to actually build the database with AI. So with natural language, I can be like, make me a projects database to manage project planning. Okay, and then let's copy and paste those properties that I wanted before. And let's just say enter. Let's see what it whips up. And again,
I can also, after you whip this up, I'll show how I've used a database and to collaborate with people as well, which might be something
yeah,
that people
super
are interested
helpful.
in.
Yeah. So Notion is now using AI to build this database, and look what we have here now. We have a complete projects database with different views. You have timeline views. You even have it in a Kanban board style, so you know like which projects are currently doing and which ones are in progress. You can also use natural language to edit. Say you don't like these properties, you can use this little chat interface here and edit that. But for simplicity's sake, let us go through these. Maybe, yeah, I like those views. Let's go done. And look, it's whipped it up for you right now. So you now have a full projects database ready to go right here. And that took about 2 minutes. So that's the projects database. Let's go to tasks as well. So maybe you have tasks, several tasks associated to that one project. Like if I have a project to build a investor data room, then there's probably a bunch of tasks that I need to do. Like I need to put my financials in there. I need to put my customer contracts. I need to put information or an FAQ within that data room for whatever reason. So same premise. Maybe I want these types of properties, but maybe instead we don't even copy and paste this. We just go into our task database, repeat that same workflow. Database, create a place to manage tasks.
You might have the loudest keyboard I've ever heard.
Is this super loud? Yeah.
It's so loud.
I might need to mute my mic whenever I type natural language, but it's because my mic is literally right above my keyboard. So it's like, clack, 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 clack. All right,
Yeah.
let me quickly mute it. Yes.
I almost think the keyboard is actually better than like the silence. So just go ahead.
I love keyboards. That's another probably thing that I haven't mentioned, but I collect keyboards. It's a very expensive hobby, but key switches, keycaps, and all that. So I could go down a rabbit hole of yeah, exactly. No. It's not an Elite gaming keyboard. It's a Keychron Q1. If any of you know what that means. So we created our project task database right here. So this is tasks, any task that we associate. Maybe we don't want to attribute it to just projects, but just any task in general that we have in our business. Let's delete that because we can actually now relate any of these tasks to that projects database that we just created. Maybe we want a two-way relation, like so. Add relation, and now we can pull in any project and attribute that to any task here as well. So this is just kind of a basic way of connecting projects and tasks together in two Notion databases that are connected to each other. We can also do that with meetings as well. So if we wanted, say we wanted a place to track all of the meetings that we have for our business. If you're a startup, you're speaking with investors, you're speaking with customers all day, you're speaking with your team as well. So same thing, we're going to create a meetings database. All right, let's track meetings. all the meetings that I have. And after this, I'll dive into how you actually drill down into any page within this database. And I'll show you how I track meetings.
Yeah, and okay, I think a question that I am keen to know, if you're having client meetings and you're recording the meeting using Notion,
Mm-hmm.
where do you host the meeting, right? So, okay, so you're recording right now because you've got Notion in the background and we're obviously on a video call webinar.
Mm-hmm.
Is that all you need? You just need it running in the background and it's going to capture it underneath the client profile.
Correct. So Notion itself records on either your desktop app or your web app. It all just matters whether you've connected your audio and your mic to your system that you're on. Maybe it's your laptop or your desktop. But I'll give you an example. So maybe let's say this is customer meeting. Customer meeting. All right. So I'm having a call with this customer. Maybe it's like the first one that I have. I implement an AI meeting notes block within here. And then as soon as I have a start my call with that client, I can just press transcribe right here and it'll record and it'll summarize and put the action items within this one page. So then all of your meeting notes and action items from that one customer call is now attributed to this one row. And so you can guess and you can assume that you would have multiple meetings from that one customer. And so you're able to have all of your meeting notes all in one place. And the cool part is you can create templates as well. So not every meeting is going to be a customer meeting. Maybe it's going to have, yes, Trevor, you can. So templates, so maybe I have a customer meeting template, and then I have my meeting notes block, but then within that I have like certain agenda points that I want to cover off. So like, I don't know, you can have discovery core questions and just like populate all of your discovery core questions here. Or maybe you can use AI, which I just press the space button, by the way, and it opens up this AI block, and I can be like, create a template for a discovery call with a customer. Let me do that right now.
Oh, Graham's had a question. He said, how would I add in-person meeting notes recorded to my mobile? You can actually download Notion onto your phone, and can you just record off having your Notion app open?
Correct. Yes. So if you have an in-person meeting and you have the Notion app, you can also use this Notion AI meeting notes block on your mobile phone. And you just press same workflow where you press start transcribe, and it will record from your phone. I mean, you could do that if you ask the person nicely to record the in-person meeting, but I tend to do this usually online, virtually. But that's because my workflow is mainly speaking with people in Australia, speaking with people in Singapore. So all of my meetings are really in person. So let me whip this up real quick.
Cool. I'm looking forward to it. I will give you a bit of a look at how I use Notion after Alex is showing us sort of the fundamentals. So some of the AI stuff, but even just how I collaborate with people. Whilst I use it a lot for community or even like my recruitment clients, all of these things can be used for so many different use cases across whatever the purpose of your business is.
Totally.
And also, Margot, I can show you as well how to manage multiple businesses inside of one Notion, because I do that.
Yeah, it's pretty hectic. But yeah, you can imagine like any template, you can create any type of meeting template, whether it's a customer call, investor meeting, and then all of those then templates live up here as well. And you can just add them to this meetings database every time you have a meeting. And yeah, asking participants for approval before recording conversations, must have. And then Martin's point around differentiating who's talking. So because it's recorded from the system, it doesn't necessarily know who's talking at the time. But usually if you start it'd be weird to start it in person and be like, oh, what's your name, or who's your name? You usually know someone's name before you start recording the meeting, but you can always go back to those meeting notes and edit them later and be like, oh, okay, this is this person, this is this person. So
it'll say person 1, person 2. Is that how it's going to differentiate? Like it can
yeah,
tell the difference
usually
between the voices? Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's the difference between the voices.
Yeah.
You're entirely correct there. So
And
that was
also Mel's asked, how many minutes can you record per month? Is there a limit?
no, there is no limit. I've had 2-hour conversations recorded from this, and it's unlimited AI usage. So if you, and it doesn't intrude on like a online meeting. So you know how some note takers, they like, it's a bot that comes in and joins the call. Well, this one doesn't. But again, to Olivia's point, you need to ask them for permission because they don't know you're recording or not. So that was meeting notes. And then again, you can connect those meeting notes to certain tasks and projects if you want, using just a little relationship block here. The cool thing is, so imagine you have all of your meeting notes populated in here, and you want to, maybe you have a thought one day where I was like, I had a meeting with like Megan 2 months ago. I have no idea. I can't remember what I spoke to Megan about. I forgot. So what you can actually do is you can press Notion over here, this little guy, or Command J, and you can actually be like, you can reference this database and be like business meetings tracker. Whoops. And then you can ask, what did I talk about to Megan? Now, this will not spit out an accurate answer because the meeting hasn't been done, but you can imagine it would find the answer within this database and then present it to you with a reference to that specific page. And so you can go into that and then find out what you just spoke about. So Notion is super helpful in terms of like being a source of truth for you to find all the information you need with natural language. You can also do this with documentation as well. So all of your standard operating procedures, documentation, you can embed files. I'll give you an example on just like an empty page. Example, I don't know why, I have like a muscle memory to add a divider here. I don't know. It's just like a formatting OCD issue or something, but you can actually add videos as well. So say you have like a Loom video or a how-to guide on Loom or on YouTube, you're able to embed videos. You can embed images. You're able to have a bunch of integrations. So like maybe you have a Figma wireframe of your product. You're able to embed that wireframe right here and use it as a working doc. No worries, Clem. See you next time. And you're able to create charts and everything like that. Google Drive, Google Docs, Miro dashboards, you name it. We probably have integrations for it, Slacks. So this is kind of the base fundamentals of building an operating system within Notion. I might save this investor data room for if people want to use it, but for now, let me just show you what it actually looks like in practice once you build all this stuff up. So you can see that I've actually pre-built a homepage for your operating system. And again, this is all built using databases. It's just in different views. So there you go. And what I've done is I've just created like a homepage dashboard where you're able to now have different views of maybe your OKRs. I've created a team directory of some of the people that work in the Notion team. Oh, look, it's me. And I've done this for everything. So I have a projects database right here. I have different views as well. So maybe I've segmented it or grouped it via the team. So maybe the marketing team, here's the marketing team's projects for this quarter. Here's the ops teams. Maybe the engineering team has a different type of project and projects that they're working on. So it can be as malleable as you want it to with Notion. And these are just built using databases. Same thing with tasks. This is just a central one task management database that everyone has access to. Same thing with documents and meeting notes. So this kind of concludes the how you build an operating system fundamentals. What I wanted to show you is some of these these basic Notion AI features that we came out with maybe 2-3 months ago, where we now have this Notion AI homepage. You can just think of it as your homepage. You're familiar with this as a user interface because you're used to ChatGPT, Perplexity, and all of those other user interfaces. But we have one too at Notion. And the best part is, like, if you guys are already using, yes, Notion can be used offline. We actually just came out with offline mode as well. So you can actually find that out. Where is it? It would be in this like here, available offline. So you can actually tick this. And so, yeah, you can use it on the go as well. You can use it on the plane, and then it'll automatically save after you get access to internet. So let's go back to the home page. You guys use a bunch of LLMs already, models, I'm assuming. But with Notion's startup program, so the one that I linked before, you actually have access to every single latest model. So you can use Claude's model from within Notion, use Gemini, and then obviously the new ChatGPT 5, or GPT-5, sorry. Notion AI is just a culmination of all of these models where it takes the prompt that you give it and then will pre-select which model has the best use case for that specific prompt that you put in. You're also able to toggle on and off access to the internet from Notion, which is super cool. So you can also create stuff based on all the information that you have in your own Notion workspace, but also connected to the internet as well. And my favorite part probably, and Megan will show you this, but you can actually connect all of your other existing tools with Notion itself. So we have a bunch of integrations right now with Slack, Google Drive, email, Jira, Microsoft Teams, Linear, GitHub. And so you're able to find information from any of these other tools directly from this Notion interface. So before I showed you the team directory slide. So maybe I'm lazy as hell, which I am, and I want to know, okay, who's the marketing lead in this workspace? So I can be like, who is the marketing lead? And then I can ask my workspace, I'll turn this off. I want to give it access to all the sources that I can access within my Notion workspace. And the cool thing is you can kind of hide pages under certain permission levels as well. So not everyone has access to every single page. But for simplicity's sake, let's ask our workspace a question. Who is the marketing lead? And it'll come up with, okay, Julian is the marketing lead. And it'll give you the link to exactly where it found that information. And so you can verify that the answer is correct. So that's a little bit about Notion and Notion AI. I will pause there because I know that we probably have a bunch of follow-up questions, and also I want to leave room for people to interact, and maybe if you do have any use cases, we can literally build it right now. So I will pause there.
Cool. Does anyone have anything that they want Alex to show them how to build? Anything in particular?
Let's build it.
Otherwise, yeah, okay. Otherwise, I can show you some of the use cases that you might get some inspiration from.
Mm-hmm. And feel free to put unmute your mic as well and just mention it.
Yeah, just chuck in. It's actually quicker if you just hit Q, jump in there, and then we can give you the mic.
Mm-hmm. I can't build a snowman. I can try. Let's see what Notion AI does when it asks to build a snowman. I'll do that in the.
Oh, yeah.
No, you keep going.
I'm looking at my Notion. I don't think I have Notion for Business. Mine. Oh, actually, never mind. I found it. So I don't have Notion AI on my home screen, but I have it on the Notion AI screen. So that makes sense. Okay. Looks a bit different to yours.
What we built a snowman.
Okay, I can see there are heaps of people typing, but it's taking a while to come through. So please just chuck in, put your hand up and using the Q button, and we'll just throw to you. Otherwise, I can start showing you a few things. Okay, Jonah, I currently use index cards and a Google Sheet. Starting from scratch, how long do I need to put aside to get myself set up? I think that depends on how much you're actually going to use the system. And what you use it for. There's probably no one answer for that, I'd imagine.
Yeah, thank you. I guess I've got 3 different client projects on the go at the moment, plus all my other bits and bobs. I don't know. Look, I have a shorthand with my own system, but I just know that it can be better. And I keep putting half a day aside to get my act into Notion gear. What I've seen from you today, Alex, I don't know, like I'm feeling like to really get myself sorted, I probably need a half day, incorporating my Google Docs and folders, calendar, notes, and all the transcription of my hard copy shit onto something that lives in Notion. So my hesitation has been just dedicating that time, especially whilst I've got a bit of a flow going with my old school method.
So I don't think that it's something we're going to be able to run through on this call, just mindful of time, but I think it is just putting some time aside to do that, or even starting with one project at a time. But I might just move on to answering like how we can build some stuff as well, but it is going to be a time sink, I would imagine, jumping over, but it's well worth it.
Thanks, Megan.
Yeah. Okay. There's a couple more questions in here. So actually Mel has put up her hand. So what would you like to ask, Mel?
Okay. I don't know if this is account, but I've been using Notion for like 7 years. So I have like one database of just like endless notes. Say I was to upgrade, like what would you suggest? Like what should I ask it to like organize like the notes I already have within Notion? Like what would be your top, 3 tips or something?
Yeah, so I guess are you upgrade to the business plan, you mean?
Yeah, so because I have the regular plan and you can't use the AI. And so I am interested in upgrading so that I can like reorganize my just like, does that make sense? Like I just have endless notes.
It totally makes sense. And if it's all
and
in
at the beginning, I did kind of like tag them, but as I went along, I just like stopped. But I feel like AI could do that for me. So like if I wanted to like organize, sort things, build things into like databases or whatever, what would I guess that's what I'm trying to ask is like, how would you organize like just a ton of notes?
Yeah, if it's all in one page, so say it's just like a bunch of notes like this, like everywhere and like that.
It's
you're
like
actually
one database.
Yeah,
One
if it's
database. So each note is its like, does that make sense? Yeah.
Yes, it does make sense. So if it's in a database, then you're actually able to, I would say, copy and paste the database into here, or just reference it using the @ thing. And then I would literally use AI to prompt it to be like, reorganize this. And it will actually go in and reorganize it for you into, but you just have to be very specific, Mel, on what you want it to do. So if you want it to separate into multiple databases, then say that in the prompt, and then it'll get going, and it'll reorganize, reformat stuff for you. I've had it reformat entire pages. I was like, I hate the headers. I want to change all of the headers in this one page to callouts, and it did that using a single prompt.
Amazing.
So,
okay.
Yeah, hopefully that helps.
Yeah, that does. Thank you.
I'm just having a look at the questions and stuff, and some of it's like not really like how do we build something. So I'm quite mindful that we want this to be sort of relevant for everyone. And a lot of it will be testing it out, like trying with AI and like using Notion AI to go and figure out some of the stuff and playing around with it. But I might just show you a couple of use cases. So I might share my screen and jump into a couple of use cases, because you might walk away with something a little bit different, or some inspiration pieces from here. Now, my systems aren't going to be as clean as Alex's demo, because I've literally just started brain dumping anything that I do on creating new team spaces and that type of thing. But I can show you some really interesting ways that I use it because I do quite a few things. If you don't know me, I like run a few little like different projects and businesses. So my life is chaos, but Notion does help me with it. I can see it saying it's trying to screen share. Can you guys see my screen, or is it still trying?
Not just yet.
Maybe I'll just, I'll cancel that and go again. Screen share, Notion. Okay, let's see. Okay, cool. You're seeing my screen. So something that I do is I actually have a page on the, like, that I've just favorited. I don't actually know what team space I put this in, but my to-do list, I won't show you that. It's pretty, is like, it just sits out of here. And for all my different projects, I'll have a bunch of stuff that I need to get through over the next month that sit underneath these toggles. So it's quite clean, and it keeps a bit of chaos, like a bit of not chaos, the opposite of chaos, but of order in my life. But then, because I actually do run a bunch of different stuff, so you'll see on this left side under team spaces, I actually have multiple team spaces. So there's one that's just Megan's HQ, which is anything like, as I mentioned, I'll share a podcast. I'll share it later. I'll send you guys an email when the record links live, and we'll share this podcast about this concept of the second brain. So in there's a tab, and it's just for me to brain dump, and I actually I transcribe into it. And put in a bunch of stuff. And then what you can do is, when you've brain dumped enough, you can actually, you can then use Notion AI to go look up something, or go through concepts. You don't have to go through that whole thought process again. I also have my recruitment business, Aussie Founders Club. I have an end of year celebration we're planning, a cohort, a jobs platform, and also a podcast. So each of them have their own team spaces, and I can invite guests to collaborate with me on these. And with Kairos, for example, I have a business development tracker, which I won't scroll down on, but in there's some quick links. So anyone that joins, joins the business, can go into our company handbook. So I've got a ChatGPT, and it's gone and pulled through our recruitment philosophy and who we are and that type of thing. And any business, as you grow, can create their own handbook and have it in this repository or this intranet that your team can access. I also use it for, I have a client hub. So every time I put in new clients, they get their own page, and I invite them in there to go and update their, put in contracts and that type of thing. Something that I think is incredible, I built out a newsletter. Obviously, if you guys are on this call, if you haven't already received an Aussie Founders Club newsletter, you will. But I had been manually pulling things out from my Slack. So this Slack community that you should all be a part of. People put things into the events channel or the jobs channel, and then I go and pull that out, and I put that in the newsletter to share with the people that aren't in the Slack. What I actually ended up doing is I created an event newsletter prompt. So if there's anyone in my Slack channel, when I'm like, can you please put in the date and the whatever for your event, it's because I'm actually pulling this out through an automation to include in the newsletter, so it's ready to drop, and I don't have to format and go collect all this information manually. So something I do is, there's this little AI chatbot. I've already got the prompt sitting here every time for me to run it. I will go and say, please review the event channel, and I have my Slack integrated with my Notion, so it's going to read the Slack, And so I might say, please review the event board channel in our Slack workspace. And you could do this for anything. Like, not everyone's got an event channel that needs to do a newsletter, but you could review it. Like, it could be your business Slack channel that everyone's communicating in. And in the public channels, you can ask it to go find a certain conversation or a bit of information. I just use it for this because it's one of the most time-consuming pieces. But I might say, since Monday, I'll show you it in motion, but let me just find a real date. Since Monday, the 4th of August. And then for each event, grab X, Y, and Z information. I hit it here. And then it's obviously searching, it's reading through the channels, it's going through the event board, and it's now starting to format things. So it's going to take a little minute, but what I do find while it's working through it is that it doesn't necessarily always make it picture perfect for me to go like what you'll see. So it's got all these hyperlinks that it's sharing with me, and it's giving it to me largely in the format. But what I do find is sometimes I copy and paste this information, drop it into Brevo, which is my email formatter, email provider, and it'll give me like RSVP here, and it'll separate out the actual link. So just to go and make sure that's perfect, I'll copy and paste, I'll drop it into ChatGPT and say, make sure this is ready to just drop in my newsletter, and it'll make sure it's all formatted properly. But it actually looks like it's improved its formatting there, because it doesn't look like there's any issues. But just in case you do have any issues doing something like that, then that's what I do for my workaround. And I do the same thing with our jobs channel. Something that I actually copied off Jake, who's on this call, is he was doing a guest segment with me for the newsletter. So we were working out of his Notion, and I didn't realize, but I hadn't done this before, but basically what he was doing was he had a template that he had created. So you can do that by, this is a database. So there's newsletter intros. You can go new, and then you can create a new template. And I've already done one. So this is what it is. And then, so whenever he was sharing me a new page, actually, this might not be the best one, that you can put in, so you can drop a new line into, okay, so I've already created this newsletter, this template, which looks like this. And every time that I want somebody to fill out one of these, so actually there's a couple of people on this call that are due to contribute, I can go hit a new newsletter. I will share it with them here, but it's already got everything prompted for them to go put into this template. So I then put a due date. So I might need them to send it back. They send me their LinkedIn. They give me this little bit of information, send it back to me. And then I have, like, when I go to do my newsletter, it's all ready. Now I'm just looking at these notes. Okay, cool. What about data security? That's actually a good question. I can't answer. I don't know anything about data security. I just assume that it's all fine. But Alex, could you answer about that?
Yeah. I sent some
some
security docs in there to Alwyn, but I guess in summary, your data is safe. And then just have a look at the thread that I just sent to Alwyn in terms of the data security. One thing I just like to mention around what you just showed, Megan, around like pre-populating templates and stuff, like you're able to just create a new page and it's auto-filled with all the properties that you want, is that you can also do automations in your database. So I have a meetings database where every time I press new or I add a new row, it automatically adds the date of that day. So I don't have to do it myself, but that's a very, very simple automation. I know, who was it that was talking about building automations between different product roadmap databases, wherever that was. Yes, you can also do that using automations as well, but maybe we won't have enough time to cover that, and I'll just keep letting Megan go through her thing.
There's one more hack, and then I have a question to ask Alex, because I don't know how to do this, but there's one more hack that and sorry if you can hear a dog panting, my dog has just got home from her walk. But there's one more hack that I actually learned from one of my clients who is an AI thought leader. And he was saying basically, people have been talking about how ChatGPT 5 doesn't, like everyone's a bit underwhelmed by it, but it's because we're using ChatGPT wrong. He uses it for decision making, for analysis and that type of thing. And so I've just literally copied and pasted his prompt, and I'll send this out. I'll put this in the newsletter as well on Tuesday, so you can go do this yourself. But if you're putting enough of your information into Notion, you can ask variations of this around specific businesses. So you could even say, can you look at my Kairos recruitment workplace and give me this information from ChatGPT? However, how he used it was, interview me to find out what my goals, barriers, and targets are. Then go through the past 5 years of Outlook, Teams, and SharePoint data. Now, I use Outlook, but I don't use Teams and I don't use SharePoint. But what you can actually do is you can, sorry, one moment. We are going to go into deep research mode. And there's sources. So you can plug in all your sources. So this is beyond Notion as well, but something cool that you can see, even your Google Drive. And you could be like, look at my Outlook email, my Outlook calendar, my Notion, my Google Drive. You do need to like specifically outline what you want it to look up. Let me just say Notion for the moment anyway. Here we go. And it goes blue because it's going to read it. And see how if I'm spending my time is aligned to my goals. Be direct, objective, and blunt, and both positive, but especially negative and constructive, and provide the top 10 recommendations. Now, it's going to interview me some questions that I obviously it's going to take too long to answer all of these things. But let me just find out. I think I'll be able to find my old chat with this in it, because it ended up pulling me out a 10-page white paper, basically. Here we go. I think it might be this. No, it's not. Okay, cool. But I ended up putting, this is me using it inside my brain. It ended up, here we go. That's it. No, that was me testing it. Okay, cool. I can't show you and I can't answer all those questions because it's going to take me too long. Oh, here we go. Here it is. Basically, it was telling me, and I workshop with it. It gave me these, like, using deep research, gave me advice. So if you know me, there is some stuff that I do that's probably low ROI, but I do it anyway. And there's a bunch of different things. And it basically analyzed my life. For the example of the person that he said it was like, it read through his team's messages. So it was saying, you're spending too much time doing this. You need to delegate. You need to do this. You're micromanaging here, you're whatever. And it's actually quite fascinating. So I think that is one of my favorite things that you can do, and you really are using it like your second brain. You've dumped everything in there. You actually find a lot of the time that you have to rethink, go through the process of thinking something to get back to where you were. If you're using the combination of having Notion as your core like source of everything, and then using ChatGPT to analyze it and using the deep research function, it's really fascinating. One thing I do want to ask Alex that I don't know is, in a table, I can't seem to do this. How do you create sums? So in Google or like in Excel, you can do a sum at the bottom of a table to collect the data from a bunch of different numbers. Can you do that in Notion? Because I can't figure it out.
Yeah, of course. No worries, Adam. My pleasure. And I just sent the link again in the chat if you guys want to claim the 6 months.
And I'll put that in the newsletter as well if you missed it.
Let me share again so I can show you quickly, because that's a really good point, Megan. And sometimes it's a little bit hidden away. So let's create a database again. Let's do that. Let's add a property. That's a number. Hopefully you guys can see this. Can you?
Yeah, we can.
I don't know, 6. All right. So you can't find it, right, Megan? All you have to do is say you have numbers and you want to sum this entire column. Let's go here, go to calculate. Count gives you percentage and more options, sum, average, median, min, max. There we are. So it gives you the sum.
Oh, at the bottom. I feel like I've looked at that and I didn't know how to do it still, but
Yeah,
cool. That's really easy.
It sums at the bottom, but to get there, you just need to click the top. So
Cool.
yeah, and then just go to more.
Okay. You solved my small problem. Is there anyone else who has a small problem that they would like to get solved?
I'm happy to, even after this call, guys, if you have any questions, just please, Megan can share my email or you can find me on LinkedIn, but I'm happy to help in any way.
Yeah, I'll plug in all your details as well. Again, I'll put it in the newsletter.
One thing that I would just end with as well is none of this stuff you need to really build from scratch. And so to the other person's point around, I think it was Jonah's point around, oh man, I have to spend so long doing this and building this up myself. It's going to take half a day. That's why we have the Notion Marketplace, which is this thing in the corner here where people have pre-built templates already on Notion. And so you can actually go, say you want to build a product roadmap. People have built product roadmaps. There's even one, oh look, there's one that's made by Rippling. Rippling's product roadmaps. So you don't actually have to build it from scratch. You could click this, oh, there it is over there, but you can download those and then embed them into your own team space. And so I would suggest that if you do have a use case, whether it's project planning, whether it's task management, whether it's, I need a fundraising CRM to track all the investors that I'm talking to, try explore the templates first, see if you can find something. And if you don't, then try and build it yourself using AI. But hopefully that saves you more time.
We're literally building a cohort and obviously Notion's involved, where we are helping people build their minimal viable people functions. So anything to do with recruitment and HR policies and having that all in one hub. And those templates are we're just building them out of Notion to give people. So it's amazing. Alice, you asked a quick question. You said, do we have specific sessions around data security? Is that specifically around Notion where we've shared the policy, or do you mean just data security, like a data security session for AFC Campus? But yeah, I think, has anyone else got any other questions specific to Notion?
What I can do is I can just share with you the doc again. But yeah, maybe I can send Megan a blurb on security and just access permissions and all that stuff. But there are some tutorials out there on how to do permissions and access and security.
Cool.
But yeah,
awesome. Mindful of time, is there anything else anyone else would like to know, or have we covered it all? Are you guys now all proficient Notion users who need to sign up for the free 6 months Notion for Business?
No worries, Jonah. Pleasure to have you.
Awesome. Well, I think we'll wrap up there. Thank you guys all so much for joining. I hope you guys have all learned something. And I will get this recording up. So if you know anyone that needs to wrap their head around Notion, they can come watch the session later. But thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Megan, for hosting, and see you guys around. If you guys are in South by Southwest, I'll be around there in October. So see you guys then.
Thanks, Alex.
Awesome.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.